The Nairobian now. How kids peep sex tips
from parents. This is scary, in a way.
Wow, this one was actually one of the research stories done by the Nairobian. The writer James Mangi covered this very, very well. It's something that has been happening, but nobody really wants to talk about it. But according to the census in 2009, it revealed that about 65% or about 1.8 billion people in Nairobi families live in single rooms.
One room.
Okay?
Yeah.
And you know what happens, you know, these are families and all that stuff. And they're saying that a lot of what kids are seeing, what their parents are doing or what is happening is affecting their sexual life and their sexual habits as well. Okay, so a lot of them are getting into pornography based on what they can hear from their parents or what they can see because they share a very, very small room. You know, these are matters of privacy, as the relationship analyst would tell us.
But Eric, it's not even just those, sorry to cut you short, but not just those who have, you know, small places to live in. I've seen, and I guess most of you have, these videos that are sent out of kids who've picked all of these things who are in, you know, humongous houses. So it's a number of factors that contribute.
I would think so. I think you can be a kid raised in a 4-bedroom apartment and your schoolmates bring pornography to school, and or maybe the household is showing you stuff. So maybe the research should, you know, expound further.
Personally, actually, Eric, what I think is parents keeping their children too long in the bedroom. You know, you have friends and the child is 2 years or 1 year and they say, she's still very little. So the child's cot is right there in your bedroom.
And they can see what's happening.
And you actually put off the light and you think the child isn't seeing. These children are sharp.
Yeah, because
so,
I mean, with time they start opening their eyes, they start opening their ears more. And the scary thing is that it's actually causing the rate of HIV to rise. According to statistics, they're saying yes, because all of them are getting involved in sexual activity.
See their parents having sex
seeing this.
Like
they try it out.
They're going to try and experiment it.
They say that children learn more from what they see than what they hear. So if you, like you're saying, if the court is there and they, you know, they hear this noise that happens, and mommy seems to be enjoying, you know, seems to be making some.
Where's the mom, the only person? No, enjoy.
Oh my goodness! But that is sad. That is just sad.
It's hard to just say how you would stop.
And you know, even the sad bit is sometimes it's not even about the mom and dad. Then there are also some people who are becoming adulterers, and the parents can see. You know, the Nairobian had a story last week about a teenage girl who actually hit the mother with a bottle because, you know, she's been bringing too many men. Okay, she's been bringing different men and she can see it, and she's a teenager. Okay, she's already in high school, and now she's being told, step out a little bit.
No, those are younger mothers just behaving badly. There's no excuse for that.
I think if I was living in a one-room house, I would tell my children that, look, I'll try my level best not to have sex in their presence, but I would have a conversation with them about sex. That, you know, if you do this now, there are serious consequences.
But let us.
So wait, you'd tell them that.
Let us look at the context.
Just hold on, Solo.
I think I would encourage parents, especially those ones who live in one-room house, to have sexual conversations with their kids and say the pros and cons of having sex at the right time. Or the dangers of having it at the wrong time.
I like what you bring in because it's a conversation about which I think we'll be having sometime next week or the other on sex education and who should be doing that and how that comes in to help, because sometimes kids will explore because they have no idea what it is.
Yes, and a lot of parents don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
I mean, they feel embarrassed, especially if you're in a single room. You don't really want to tell your kids about sex. You actually want to act like you don't know what it is.
No, you know what
it is. No.
Let me crop
Look at it. Put yourself in their shoes. You're there. You're going to tell them about sex and you're going to have sex that same night.
You have to try not to have sex the same night.
Let me tell you, Solo.
What we're saying is that there's some parents who are actually failing to control their sexual acts.
No, they have to.
The Bible says, let me crop in the Bible.
Yes.
The Bible says, bring up your child in godly ways so that when they grow up, they do not depart from it.
Yes.
Okay? The reason why Al-Qaeda, ISIS...
Ungodly?
It's very godly.
Hold on. The reason why ISIS, Al-Qaeda, all these terrorists are very successful is because you find a 15-year-old slicing your threat off without even batting an eyelid. Why? Because they were told from when they were 2, 3, 4, 8 that, you know what, kill these idiots.
Yeah.
And then they believe it. My mother told me when I was growing up, unaona mwenda wazimu. I was like, yeah, alivuta bangi. To date.
So link that for us with sex very quickly.
Very quickly. To date, after my mother told me that, I would never touch weed because I think even now I go crazy. Even though I see my male friends smoking weed. But because she told me when I was little, I wouldn't. So if I spoke to my kid, Sophia, and I said, look, when you have sex now, I'm doing it because I'm 38 and your mother is 28 and we had you. Okay? It is the right time to do it. When you have sex now, unaona ule Siprosa alipata mimba akiwa na 14 years. Sahii ametoka shule. Saizi ni mgonjwa, ana pesa ya kujikimu, and on and on.
But so then they would see the example. Bottom line,
basically telling the child, when you have sex, you get babies, and when you have sex, you get sick.
I think what
I think you'll be pointing out, and you'll be pointing out to the dangers of having it.
Don't make them afraid of it.
I think what he's trying to allude to is literally sex education.
Yes.
I think bottom line is sex education.
Maybe you can find a nice way to tell your kids.
But not make them afraid of the sex. But also parents, do not keep the children inside there and then have sex, really now.
Yeah, it's good.
You don't. You can
find
creative ways, go somewhere, go out.
The thing is, it becomes a bit difficult, and I'm not justifying it, but think about it. These guys have only one room, and they probably hustle the whole day, come in the evening, maze, their times.
We're not talking about the ones who have the one room.
And you can't keep sending the kid to the shop every hour.
No.
And they're kibiriti.
I'm talking about those who live like this guy.
One at a time. One at a time.
I don't think there's an end to this debate.
This definitely has. Yeah, this definitely has many sides to it. Complex conversation when you talk about sex education. There's no one fits all, and you have to just find some wisdom and in having that conversation and how you handle yourself as a parent, especially in that one room.
The thing is, Nairobian is just telling you what it is, then you can find answers.
And I think it's good for every parent to read so that you don't just take it for granted and to know what the potential, of what might be happening.
Exactly.
So, 10 Ways Kenyans Coped Bila TV is on page 2. So, some went for reading, like I saw myself doing.
You know, funny enough. I mean, when we went off, people picked up different things. And
what did you pick up?
People, I started reading and I started watching series and stuff like that. I've been watching movies, something I rarely do, and I started reading as well. So this is one of them, and we became bookworms. I've even been reading Swahili.
What do you mean? Because some other people were on, so they were still things to read.
Big on watching TV. Well, I'm not, but I think they drank more than watching other things.
Oh yes,
one at a time. Sorry.
I think Kenyans were drinking more. All these must just be fabricated. I think Kenyans. I saw pubs full. More than I saw a bookshop.
It was a good
Actually, one of them there does say that one of the things that people did is that they stayed in town or wherever they drink longer. Because you're not rushing to watch the 9 o'clock news or any soap operas.
And people bought the paper more.
Yeah, but interesting also, apparently, TV does work as a birth control measure. And,
because they're saying there was a statistic. People run these things on social media and they're saying in November, December, we might be expecting a lot of babies being born because of the idleness, because of lack of TV and people engaged in other things. So I don't know.
What research is this?
Okay, which people are
no, but very interesting.
Listen,
like if the TVs are off, let's get babies. We can't even talk.
Nothing is interesting. What do we do?
Really?
Yeah, and actually there's a survey that was done which is scientific, and one of they were doing this in areas that have a very high population, and apparently one of the causes was poor lighting facilities and lack of recreational activities in the evening.
Well, you don't have
so you get home at 6, by 8 mnangaliana.
Well, you know the thing they say about slang?
Recreation creates procreation.
So. Okay, Stephen, your thoughts on that before we move on?
I just go with what they said. I think Kenyans stayed out long.
What were you doing?
Personally, I was doing my everyday.
Okay.
Watching my movies, and of course, I had a level of TV. Which has always been there.
Which has always been there. So there's a Nairobian in-depth story, page 14 and 15, prison stunning male inmates into wives. And you have here someone saying, when I was in committee, I saw men who were selling themselves to fellow prisoners. Some offered themselves for as little as 2 sticks of cigarettes. So I have done a few years back a story on death row. When I went to committee, was in there with the inmates and did a number of interviews with these guys. And it happens, you know, especially the younger ones. What they were telling me is, you know, once they get in, they become, what is that thing when you get to campus? Gold rush. Yes. You know, you're the newest, everyone wants to. And it's crazy, the kind of trauma it does for some of these very young kids. So I know this to be true, at least off of that report, but it's sad that it happened.
And it's an expose that people are also silent about. It's an expose that even the authorities are trying to deny and saying that it's not happening. They have no idea about it. But truth be told, this thing is happening. There's a lot of homosexuality happening in our prisons. John Lawrence and David Odongo actually talked to a few former inmates who confessed, and others who have